Yeah, it amazes me too, just like how not necessarily consistent, but that first year where Vegas was introduced into the league as an expansion team, that wasn't a fluke year. Like a lot of people thought it was a fluke year, just because they were newbies, beginners luck, whatever. But they've consistently been one of the top teams. It seems like. Do you think that is a possibility with the Seattle Kraken, the next expansion team, or do you think they're gonna kind of get the shit into the stick?
I don't think they're necessarily going to get the shit end of the stick. I think it's going to be really interesting because they are coming in after Vegas. Now, granted, Vegas put together a front office that is easily one of the best in the league. And I think that shows with the coach switch from Gallant to, I can't remember his name, from San Jose, Dubar. I'm probably going to get chirped for this one because I can't remember his name, but he was San Jose's head coach, a rival of Vegas, and got picked up by the Vegas Golden Knights, and they continued to win. So I think that's very, indicative of what that front office is like. That being said, I think teams around the NHL are now going to be much more strategic with who they let out there versus who they let out there before, knowing how well Vegas was able to get the players and how well of a plan Vegas had mapped out for the players that they selected. Now, that being said, again, Vegas's roster is vastly different from the roster they had when they started and they got in the league. So, your biggest pieces that just literally off the top of my head is Marc-Andre Fleury, and that's pretty much it. Outside of that, you don't have a lot of guys around anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Seattle. I think the fan base is going to be phenomenal, but it's going to come down to the front office and what they can put together and how they can keep the team rolling.
Did you talk about the expansion draft at all? Sorry, I had to step out.
Yeah, well, we were just talking kind of about like how Seattle's going to fare compared to Las Vegas because, Las Vegas kind of just came into the league dominant from the get-go.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, Seattle, it seems like going to have a little bit harder time. So for the expansion stuff, how does that necessarily work? There's keepers, right? Each team has like a certain amount of keepers and then the rest are up for grabs.
It boils down to, whoever has no match, no trade clause, I believe are two stipulations that can keep someone from being an unprotected skater. I believe that there are 8 skaters that are made available unprotected. There's 8 skaters that you can protect, so it leaves the rest of the team unprotected. Now, the way that you can divide that up is up to you. 5 defensemen, 4 defensemen, and then 4 skaters or 5 skaters, depending. Really, that's what's going to be interesting is to see what these teams do as far as how they split up the protected and unprotected. So another way that you can be protected is if you're on your rookie contract, you can't be taken by an expansion team. And then I believe that each team is required to protect at least one goalie, which I think we can also be Ben Bishop leaving Anton Khudobin exposed as an unprotected player to the Seattle Kraken, which is an interesting person of interest, a person of interest for the Kraken up until this past season. I think he might have played himself out of that position, to be completely honest with you. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Is that a good or bad thing for the Stars?
It's a little bit of both. I'm of the bandwagon of, I say trade him, to be completely honest with you. I love Khudobin. He's a fan favorite. The guy is a locker room gem. Every place that he's played, everyone loves him. That being said, you have Jake Ottinger, who is more of the style of Ben Bishop than he is of Anton Khudobin. Size, strength, stature, the way he plays in the net. So for me, it would be more valuable to see what you can get for Khudobin. He's got a relatively friendly contract with $3.3 million left in the next 2 years. So if I'm Jim Neal and I'm in the front office, I'm looking at Anton Khudobin and I'm saying, okay, who needs a goaltender out there right now? A couple of teams that come off the top of my head, Columbus Blue Jackets. You've got Elvis as your starter. You're going to need a B guy. And I think that Khudobin could shoe in and maybe have some kind of package for a Seth Jones. The Stars, you obviously don't really need defensemen, but it never hurts to have one of the better defensemen in the league. There's just a couple of teams out there that I think could really use a B or a starting goalie as a tandem. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But that being said, if they end up keeping Khudobin and work out some kind of weird deal where I guess Ottinger goes back to the AHL to the Texas Stars, which a lot of fans don't want to see. But if that does happen, then you have the opportunity for Hudobin to kind of take that load off a little bit, split time with Bishop truly, and maybe get his form back, a little bit of his confidence back. And who knows, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder. So